I'm Diane Keene and my husband,
Glenn Keene.
And together we have 3 children. And our oldest son, Hayden Keene, who you'll hear from shortly, is an adult with a developmental disability. His diagnosis is on the autism spectrum. And that's really what connects us initially to the community. But then beyond that, we have done a considerable amount of research and then worked with our community to try and provide inclusion and support for our young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, which I'll just call IDD.
We live in Cherokee County, Georgia, and when Hayden was growing up and he was in school, he was school age, he had a lot of good services. We were very, very fortunate, in school. He had peer facilitators, his parapros were great, his teachers are great, he had a lot of activity. And, as he approached and became age 21, he aged out of the system. So he went from a full day of activity to nothing. So from, 80 to 0 in a day, basically. One day you turn 21 and you can't go to school anymore. And so, looking at that need and being involved with other parents who have kids with some disabilities, that were in the same situation we were, we knew that there was a problem, of course, and how were we going to meet that need. And that's when Diane and I started to research different ideas and, what would the solution be? How can we solve this problem? And that's really what started the quest to be able to find that solution.
That started back in 2010.
Yeah.
We started meeting with a group at Hickory Flat United Methodist Church. And at that time we were looking at an intergenerational community, but it was different than what, as we've done more research and worked with the young adults more and actually assessed the needs of the community and heard from the young adults, what we started with has changed greatly just based on the research we've done. So Community of Hope was initially started by the Raymond Cash family. Karen Cash owns this beautiful land. Their mission was to open this property to people from the community and even in an urban area like Atlanta who may not be able to access nature. They cut in about 6 miles of trails, beautiful trails. It's a strenuous hike though. And they did that with a handicap accessible bathroom. Some trails up here at the top are handicap accessible. Some are more strenuous. It is a beautiful piece of land. And so Community of Hope started with that mission to bring people into nature. We started in Hickory Flat with a group. It was a group of moms. I'm a assistant professor of nursing at Kennesaw State, and I called together a group of people to assess the needs of our young adults. And we held a town hall, and through that we formed Circle of Friends, which is an intergenerational group of people who come together to support one another in social activities. And so Circle of Friends, through a wonderful article in the Cherokee Tribune that Karen Cash's, one of her friends saw, they introduced this article, opened the opportunity for me at Circle of Friends to talk to Karen Cash about Circle of Friends working with Community of Hope to form a community here on this property. And so our initial mission with Circle of Friends was through our research with the community, we discovered that our young adults needed or wanted socialization, supportive employment, and supportive affordable living. And we asked for, in this article, we asked for 2 to 5 acres in Hickory Flat, and we had this amazing phone call from Bill Campbell, and he invited us up here to see this land, and it turned out to be 212 acres. So Community of Hope, it is an amazing place that is going to give our young adults access and full inclusion into the community. So it's not a place of segregation where they would live apart from the community, but instead be a part of the community.
In addition to that, it's we've got the disability community, but this is an intergenerational place. So it's a place where people of all abilities and all ages can come together, and basically work together, mentor each other, and those interactions produce purpose, and that's what we have. Living with purpose is part of the vision. Living with purpose for all ages. We live right now as America is aging. More and more people are retiring and leaving the workforce, and many of those people are stuck at home and really don't, after they get that job, similar to what I talked about with Hayden, aging out of the school system. When these people come out, they had a full life, and now all of a sudden they're sitting at home and not knowing what to do. This is an opportunity to find affordable housing and bring these populations together, where they each, have meaning and purpose in their life from those relationships.
Enriching each other's lives,
Yes.
Enriching their own lives and lives of others as well.
One of the repeated concerns was, what's going to happen to my child when I'm gone? Where are they going to go? We thought a lot about that ourselves. What's going to happen? They need a place that they can go, that they can thrive, that they can have relationships with, that we feel comfortable in knowing that when we're gone, they're going to have a productive, full life. We have other siblings, but we don't want to put that burden on them, because they have to live their life. And so Community of Hope is going to give an opportunity to meet that need.
To create natural supports. So there's multiple levels here of why it's important. Like Glenn shared, it's important to us because we want Hayden to go on after we're gone, living and loving life. And like I said, I teach nursing, and my students used to use this movie to write a family assessment. The movie is called Marathon, and it is about it's in Korean, so it's subtitled, but it's about a mother and her son. Her son is an adult with autism, and the one line in that movie that I just can't get past is, she said, "I hope I live one day longer than you." I don't want to live longer than Hayden. I'm 30 years older than him. I want him to live way beyond us. And our daughters, Haley and Victoria, they love him and they will help him. But to think that he might be able to just move into their house when we're gone, or that they would be able to take 24-hour care of him, is not realistic and not really fair to them. And it's not fair to Hayden either. We want to set him up so that he is in a community that's accepting and loving, where he can continue to live the life that he loves. So that's on a personal level. On a broader level, I'm a community health nurse. So before I became a professor, I was a home health nurse. And I focus on people in the community and the health of populations. And one of the social determinants of health is housing. Well, for our young adults who are stuck in their parents' house on a couch in the basement playing video games all day, that does not enhance their health. That does not promote their health whatsoever. So we need to create a space that can be replicated elsewhere, where our young adults can direct their services or their life in the way that they want, and have a home, not a house, a home. Have a home that they feel good about and they take pride in, and that is welcoming and inclusive, includes them in the community. So for us, it needs to look like the community. It needs to look like, not just people with disabilities, not just young people, not just old people, but like the community. So it's important to meet our individual family needs, but then when we look beyond that, it is essential for our communities, because we are at a point where this is not just happening in Cherokee County. It is happening across the nation. And there are parents like us and young adults like Hayden who are scrambling to find their place in the world. And we need to create this. It just doesn't exist yet. There are a few models that are really fantastic, so I'm not discounting them. But overall, it doesn't exist. And in Cherokee County, it doesn't exist. So it is essential. It's not just important, but it is an urgent need in our community and in communities across the country. And we're joining together with other communities to try and create what would be a model that can be replicated. I mean, if we can think back 40 years or so before there were assisted livings, imagine a world without assisted livings. But that, we didn't have them. Back in the 70s, they didn't exist. And we had nursing homes, but we didn't have assisted livings. And now we have them everywhere. We need to have a supported community in every community. And then our hope is that through this interaction, like true inclusion and interaction in the greater community, the community will get to know our young adults better. And it will be a natural way for others to say, gee, I didn't know that so-and-so needed a ride to the grocery store, or I didn't know that so-and-so was so lonely. So why don't we invite him over for dinner? Why don't we work together to do some project, work on a garden? Whatever it might be, we could do crafts together. All these things would just enhance the life of everybody involved. And by involving the community, then it's no longer just about us. It's not about us. This project is not about us at all. And it's not really about Hayden either, because he's pretty happy right now in his living situation. He's got a good life. So regardless of whether he lives here or not, this is still happening. It is essential. It is essential. We have people who are so lonely that they're depressed, and that shouldn't be. We're going to try and fix that. Our goal is not to just stop here, but to create a model and then to share it with others in other communities.